Welcome to How We Grow, an essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz, with your host, Lynell Gordon. Welcome to How We Grow, the Vacation Rental Show. I'm Lynell Gordon, and I have a very special guest with us today. Randy Hall is here. And Randy, you have a very diverse background. Right now, he is the founder and he's the owner of Liquid Life. He brings like 25 years of experience in marketing and small businesses to the Orange Beach area. And before doing that, you were the CEO of StudentLife.com, which is a really remarkable gift to the world, in my opinion. And you guys do an amazing business there at Liquid Life. My understanding is you manage over like 200 million in luxury condos, and like you're focused on the very best of the best, what you can do. I just want to tell you, thank you for coming on to share with us your expertise, and tell me what you're passionate about, what you'd like to share with people about vacation rentals, or what you'd like to share with property managers.
Well, I'm an advocate for this business when it's done best. And I kind of believe that's by people who live here and work here and are on the ground and who are in it every day. That's the only way I know how to do it. I don't know how to do this from a distance. And so we have a very, very wonderful market. It's an absolutely fantastic market. Alabama has a Gulf Coast. Who knew? We have really good sand. You know, from east of Mobile Bay, when God designed the world, he said, let's put some white sand starting here and we'll give Alabama, 30 miles of it, and then Florida gets the rest. But as a result, that creates a market for us where we're the closest really nice beach to Houston, Texas, and Lake Charles and Shreveport. So we have that wonderful group of people from Louisiana who get to us from I-10, and we have Tennessee and Alabama who come here, and a lot of loyalty. We know our market. We're not a Florida market. We're very unique. It's a cozy, small little town. Our population in Orange Beach is only 7,000 people. And our police force is commensurate with, 150,000 guests every week in the summer. And so we have police officers chasing around the girls' volleyball team with the 7th grade in October because there's nothing else for them to do. But it's a really quaint town. It's a delightful place, and a lot of character, a lot of boating, and, 6, 8 places to go on your boat. But I'm talking about the local side. The vacationing guests are just like everywhere else. They're coming one time a year. They're doing 5 nights in some really nice condos. And so we built a nice business in a really nice place, and 13 years into it, and very happy with it, and just, happy to take on a few more every year if they drop our way.
So tell me this, what advice would you give property managers that are looking to grow their business?
Well, that's a big decision to want to grow. And I know a lot of people who are happy with just status quo. But if you're serious about growing, then there are some intentional efforts that you need to go through to be in that process. It's my belief, after being in this for a while, that there's a certain percentage, let's say 10 to 12% of owners who reach some kind of a pain point every year and decide to read our mail in that one moment. So you want to be known in that moment. You can't guess when their pain point's going to come. It doesn't always come in October or January, but you want to be known. And so for me, it's consistency and kind of putting the brand out there. I'm just a firm believer that direct mail is a way to be different in a digital environment. And so what we've done with direct mail is we've gone the extra mile to make it unique, and we buy some really nice paper, and it has rounded corners and touchy-feely paper and a booklet. And when you get it, you don't want to throw it away just because it's nice. And so countless times people walk in the door with 1 or 2 of our brochures that we've laid out there that they received maybe months ago. So the tip is to be known to the people you want to be known to. And that doesn't mean everyone. It means pick your spot. You don't have to mail to 5,000. You can pick your 400 and introduce yourself to them monthly, weekly. A really nice letter with blue ink signed on the bottom to a targeted opportunity costs less than $1 and a few minutes. And so we've done all of that over the years. So I would say it begins with introducing yourself to we live in America. Everybody knows who owns what piece of real estate. Therefore, the tax records dial up an opportunity. You can't find their LinkedIn profile. You might not be able to find their email, and you might not trust a robo-dial, but you can put something really nice in their hands.
It's interesting to me because I feel like we're going back, where we talk about that beautiful brochure, I can remember back when I first started in this industry about 5 years in, we used to do these big books and we used to send the books out and they used to have all the properties and then people could choose. And that was before online booking, if you remember. And we would auto generate those books from the websites that we created. And that was a huge deal. It saved us so much time because we were truly publishers back in the day in those booklets that we did. So you're doing something very similar and sending them to owners. That's a great idea. I like the booklet idea. A lot of people do the letters as a vacation rental owner. I get those letters and I think they're great. I mean, I read them? Actually, yeah, I do read them. So it's a very good, even though I would never change my property management company because my family managed it, you bet I read what they're saying.
We'll do show and tell. How about that? This is
Perfect.
the booklet that we've been mailing, and you can see it's really nice, has our brand on it. And unlike the times ancient days ago where we would mail a condo and a price, can you imagine a stagnant price in a mailing for months? But we basically just tell our story. And so I can go through this. It's about 12 pages and it just kind of tells the whole story. And this one points to 6 videos that we made last year to introduce our company, which really was stepping it up a bit so that people could kind of really get to meet your team by video. And that was a whole nother chapter. And we had kind of decided not just to grow by 30 a year, but we set a goal to grow by 100 units last year. And we thought we needed to put the video piece together. Videos for us is not videoing something going on in our office or asking everybody how they're feeling today and putting it on Facebook. We went for a little different approach. We got a company to come in and interview all our people. And so when you go to Trust Liquid Life right now, you'll see that we made a pretty significant investment in some super high quality videos. And that has been a catalyst to help us. We've taken in 90 new properties organically this year. And not all of them are coming from the one big company that you would think.
Wow. That is really remarkable. That's a lot of growth too. So you had to know that that's what you wanted to do. Okay, guys, you guys who are listening out there in podcast land, let me tell you what I just saw. On the front of this brochure, it's absolutely beautiful. It has blue and greens. It's using the color of the water on a background and it has the name of the company, but they're using QR codes to actually get to these videos. So each page has beautiful pictures on it and a QR code. It's beautiful. What's on the back of it? Can I see the back cover?
Yep. So the URL and the ways to get to us, all the ways. The outline is basically just features marketing. It's our story. We happen to have decided to get into the cleaning business to protect ourselves and to be able to set standards. So we have a branded cleaning company internally in the company. Only Clean Condo only serves Liquid Life, but we gave a page to that. And so Condo Care, the secret in our business is that 70% of your team is in the division of taking care of condos. Takes many less people than that to make reservations and do marketing and finance. So Clean Condo is our condo care division. And we put that in the booklet and just try to tell that whole story. It makes us unique.
That's very cool. That really is. So obviously your years of marketing have paid off. I'm still shocked. That's a ton of growth in 1 year. That is.
Yeah, it is. Well, let me also tell you that during that year, we acquired another small company from a friend. And just a bonus, there was a guy who walked in my office in October and he had one of these brochures in his hand because he owns a condo that we mail to. And he started quizzing me. And at the end of the conversation, he was the developer of a 67 cottage development with a fabulous bazillion-dollar pool. And they have an exclusive management contract. And so he was looking for someone who could come in and take the whole thing and bring it to life and provide resort style entertainment. So the 90 was just organic, plus we picked up another 70. So we're up about 160. And it's stretching everything within us. It's probably not something we want to do, but the opportunity came. And so we've got a lot of new, young, energetic people leading around here, changing software and systems to catch up with it. So kind of expose those places where we were maybe working in some older processes. So we're in a growth mode all around, and you do have to prepare for the growth. It's much more than just add 15 condos, add 15 digital locks or something like that. There's a tipping point. And you didn't ask about this, but I think there's a tipping point between 30 and 40 where one person and a friend can't do it anymore. And so you really do, if you're operating that that size company, then I really have seen that my friends who are in this business with 30 properties and then 40, and then they pick up 10, you really do have to kind of turn a corner in that growth mode. And then all of a sudden, an appetite for growth means it's not going to just be you from there on out. It's going to be you and a team. And that brings on everything that goes with leadership and delegation. So growth is a choice, and there are things that go with it. It's not just, hey, we got 10 more condos. It's systems.
That's why I encourage people who I speak to that are just starting out. There's somebody that just I was talking to, they have like 16 properties. They're high end luxury properties, and they're about to hit some software. I'm like, stop. You need to go with a high end software that'll allow you to grow as fast as you want. It will really make a difference. The technology for being able to automate those processes is so important at that time. So I can imagine that you have to have a very good property management system to make that work.
We're changing and evolving right now in this turn. We believe there's an opportunity in our market to continue this level of growth, and that's going to require all new people, young leaders who don't look at a new piece of software like I look at a new piece of software. I tell people sometimes, my children particularly, I have about 3 more logins available in my brain, and then I don't want to log into anything more. And if you bring something new at me, they have to log into, I have to get rid of something else. But I'm very unique and an anomaly in the business, and have turned over all of that new logins to a group of people who are facilitating our growth.
That's really brilliant. That's great. I think that it's important that the technology you choose during that path is one that will accommodate that growth and more. Because if you're growing that quickly, people tend to follow the leader, especially in blogs and types of things like that on social media for property management. Let me ask you this. So if you could look back over your shoulder over the last 2 years or longer and say, boy, if I had only known then what I know now, what would you have done differently?
I wish I could say that I know the answer to that, and I know the moment that it came to be a light bulb for me, and I knew the moment that I gave in. But I'm going to say that when I signed up with myself to endeavor to grow rapidly and to take advantage of what we felt like the opportunity was, I really was just not aware that it would lead to a complete systems overhaul. And I wasn't really not aware that there would be 6 new people here in a middle management level. But when you go from 417 to 568 or 570 right now in 1 year, that comes with it some reality. Some things break, some things don't work well. And so I can't say that there was a moment where it all just happened really fast. And I'm not disappointed with any of the results of it. There was a point last April, so maybe 1 year ago, where my CPA, friend of mine since 1994, said, Randy, you can't do this with one bookkeeper anymore. You need to hire someone. We call him a CFO. And I was like, I really like my setup right now. I kind of feel in control. I know what's going on. And he said, you might be, but there's the Alabama Real Estate Commission in Montgomery looking over your shoulder, and you're touching this many dollars, and the structure you have to touch it doesn't really fit. And so by force, my friend and CPA from really one of the largest firms in our state said, you got to hire somebody. And I went looking for a CFO and found someone who knew our software and knew the industry and was looking for a move. And so that was a key hire. And I'll just tell you that not everyone's in a position to hire that position, but when you bring someone in with that experience, that education, then it fundamentally changes the way you structure the finances of the business. And so that was a big win. I would have done that 4 years ago if I would have known what a difference hiring a CFO, and particularly Matt that we love, just Matthew is just great. So I think that the most profound changes in the company have come through the people that we brought in and the skills that they bring. That speaks to the environment we all work in, where the hourly rate we used to work with 5 years ago doesn't work anymore. And it puts you on the borderline of having to pay 50 to 70% more than that. And then just above that are this bright group of kids who graduated from college who can come in and kind of make a difference with their education. So I would say that the team part of it is probably the most rewarding for me because of the skills and tools they bring. We hired one guy who was working in a quiet company 5 hours away, had no idea that when we hired him, we were going to get in him our revenue manager and our channel manager and a guy who knew, get this, who already knew how to deal with the temperature of the pool at the resort being 82 degrees and knew what to tell us there. So you never know what you're going to get when you bring new people in and you let them speak up and give them a spot. I guess that's been the big thing for me, is just opening the door to new people and their ideas and their gifts and their abilities.
I love that. I just had someone contact me today, a friend of mine whose son has worked in the business all his life, and he's been the GM at a company. He's leaving this company. He doesn't want to do that there anymore. He wants to go somewhere else, and he wants to do VP of operations. And I thought about that. And I know two people that are looking. And I said to my friend, I said, well, here are two people that are looking. I said, if he's that excellent to hire, we're talking about good hires and hiring the right people. I said, this company is really nice. The people you work with, they are godly, wonderful people to work with. They're so kind. They really are. And I said, and this other company is known for being, a real hard manager and very demanding. And he raises his voice at people. So you need to look at which one of those is going to fit your son better. Because this guy is brilliant. He is so brilliant. He's built his vacation rental business and he's one of the best managers I know. If I had someone and I wanted them to run my company, this would be the guy. He's all about the numbers. He takes a P&L and he splits it apart and he puts it into pieces and he puts it back together and says, here's where we're going. He's just so good at that. So hiring the right people, especially financial people to look at it, you're right. That is very, very important. How good for you. How great for you. So believe it or not, guys, you guys that are listening out there, they're looking to grow. There are so many times that I've been told on this show exactly just what I've been told now, that you would have hired this sooner if you had known what a huge difference it would have made, Randy. You would have done that like much earlier.
Built by property managers for property managers. Streamline is a powerful software that gives managers enterprise-level capabilities to drive more revenue and improve operational efficiency. Migrating to Streamline allows property managers to gain functionality while reducing the need for multiple vendors, improving flow by logging into a single system and reducing redundant technology costs. With Streamline, property managers achieve revenue lifts by leveraging our fully fledged communication center, reservations quoting system, revenue management tools, homeowner acquisition CRM, and powerful direct OTA connections. Streamline also has industry-leading trust accounting and report capabilities to give you clarity in an overall company performance. Learn more about Streamline Vacation Rental Software at streamlinevrs.com.
Let me ask you this. What other types of things should our friends out there who are vacation rental managers who are truly wanting to grow their inventory, what other types of things should they think about? You've got the marketing piece. You're talking about the tech background and the hiring of the people background. What other kinds of things do you think would be helpful for them to think about? What are you guys doing with channel management?
Well, I tell you what, the channel management part of that is new for us. Let me address the first part of your question, and then we can see what I know about channel management. It's essential, by the way. You got to have all of that working. What I would say is choosing your target well, where you want to grow. I'll just use our heavenly little market. It'll sound itty bitty compared to Florida, but essentially, according to our fantastic CVB and GulfShores.com and Northbeach.com people, Beth Kindler, we have 15,000 condos here and about 1,200 hotels. So out of that includes all of the ones that are stick built 20 years old. It includes a whole bunch of houses across the street from the beach and all that. And so what we did was we put a dot on the map and we kind of went 6 miles to the west and 6 miles to the east. And then we picked out the nicest complexes in those, went to the tax records and downloaded them. And so for us, that was 5,000 out of the 15,000. So if you go and talk to someone who owns a property 3 miles from the beach, they don't really know who we are because we've not made ourselves famous to them. And this works whether it's a target of 500 or it works with a target of 5,000. For us, it was the upper third of the market. I then was very intentional about getting some key properties in the key buildings to get a presence on the website. I met someone early on who told me a story about a guy who took over a family business that had not been run well. And the first thing he did was he went out and got 4 really nice properties and made 0% deals with them just to get them on the website. And that's extreme. But for us in our market, there's some top of market properties. And if you get a few of those, well, then all of a sudden you are identified when people look at your website by the properties you represent. And in our market, brown leather is a rent killer. So if you've got a dozen properties with 1980s tile and brown leather, then you look like a tired 28-year-old company, and everything in your refrigerator is probably spoiled too at your office. It just, the sheets are dirty and nothing's clean, all because you have a brown sofa, right? Sorry,
Right.
it's the truth.
No,
On
it's
the
true.
other hand, if you have these really stellar properties with these white living rooms like you have behind you and beautiful kitchens and all of that, then exactly, see, the photos of that kitchen and that really fantastic refrigerator tell people, oh, they represent the kind of properties I want. And so you kind of brand yourself in the properties that you get, and you have to work really hard to get one or two, but narrow that market, choose that target group, get them in a database, keep up with what you're doing, repeat, repeat, repeat. So if you're trying to grow by 10 a year, making yourself famous to 300 people only cost about $350 to $400 every other month to put the right letter, the right personal touch in their hands through direct mail. And then the experience that they get when they come to your website has to match it. And then you have to pick up the phone and talk to people. And so I would tell you that I'm echoing some people in our industry right now who have been saying this because they have an exhibit hall booth set up to sell their product. And I'm for those guys. And we've used Ventory for the last year. What I'll say is, as the owner of the company, I put my cell phone out there in that sector where I talk to people, because in our market, an average rent is $55,000. It's not Aspen, it's not 30A. And that $55,000 gives us a commission rate of maybe 18, 20%. So there you go. There's $12,000 or 10 plus booking fee. So I look at every phone call that someone honors me by responding to my marketing as an opportunity to add a relationship, a new owner, a new property, and to add $10,000 to $12,000 to our top line. And then we have to manage it well. So I would say that as an owner of a business who wants to grow, there's really probably not a higher value equation that you can put on answering the call, returning the phone call, personally following up. And I don't mind that work. I've been here, I'm 63 years old. I've been at this business for going on 13 years. And I understand the value of talking to people about our program and responding quickly. And when they have a pain point, they want to talk about it and they want to know what you're going to offer.
I love the be intentional part. That's a strategy that we've employed in our family as well. We've literally gone and said, here are the houses that we would like to acquire that are in our market. And, these are the ones that we want to show on our website. Earlier this week, someone said to me that in growth, you have to think about sustainability. And when you think about a house that is the brown sofa house, we call them beach boxes, which is not a bad thing to have. I know people that make a lot of money and that's all they do are beach boxes. And as a matter of fact, you can make a ton of money off of that. But you have to be intentional about that and know your market, like you're saying. So that's fabulous advice. Let me ask you this. What is your favorite owner story or guest story?
Well, thank you very much for just the opportunity to talk about my favorite guy, Steve. In 2012, when we started the infrastructure of the business, a real estate agent locally blessed us and brought Steve and his wife over. And the story was that he had bounced around to all of the big companies in town and that they were looking for someone to make them some promises, and we did. Steve is a farmer from Missouri. His family has been farming all their lives, and they owned lots of farmland, and that's a hard, hard life, and we all know what that's like. But Steve's the guy who, right about retirement age, decided, I'm not going to do this to my family anymore, and he sold all the land. And he became very, very wealthy, and he bought condos at the beach. And so over the last 13 years, number one, he didn't bounce in and bounce out. So we satisfied him and we were the end of his rotation through multiple companies. He is a fantastic gentleman. He's very benevolent. And so he signed up for my Facebook page the day after we met. And so I've watched him ride motorcycles through Brazil. I've watched him navigate all of his guide trips and his family equations and stuff. I've talked to his son about his business. And so Steve has identified that life transition where I don't want to farm anymore and I don't want anybody to farm behind me. We're going to do a different thing. And they bought 3 condos. He has not bought and sold. Those condos are worth a lot more now than when he bought them. And we've been serving him faithfully for 12 years. And he buys things for the ladies on our staff that have been here that long. Holly's been here for the full ride with me. And so fantastic story of changing your life by selling your land and investing. And it's come out really good for him. And he's been very kind to us. He owns one of the nicest properties in the nicest buildings here. And I watch as he gives it away. And I watch as he lets his family and friends stay in it. He's past the point where he's focused on us maxing out rental rate. It's a gift for him. And so that's just one story. There's another family that owns a jewelry business in North Alabama and they give it away. You know, their rental income might be 42% of their neighbors, but there's a constant flow of people. So in the hospitality business, we're standing at the door, opening the door for people who are giving gifts to their family and enjoying it. And so the question I get a lot is, well, what about owner usage? Do you try to limit our owner usage or do you have a fee for when we use it? And my response is, where I grew up, when people own stuff worth $1 million, we don't tell them how to use it. So we're very liberal with that. We don't see a guest coming in on behalf of an owner at no cost as a loss of commission. It all works out in the end. So yeah, thanks for asking me about Steve. I could tell you a lot more, but he's famous for having made a life turn and shared that part of his journey with us.
That is very sweet. And to have those types of relationships in your life, it enriches your life. Those type of people make your life happier.
Yeah, let me just tell you one more. There's a guy named Dwayne from South Louisiana, and he also has a very profitable business. And when Hurricane Sally happened, I happened to be with my mom in a hospital and could not come. I was in Baton Rouge, but my team was here 24 hours after the hurricane. And Dwayne and his company drove this way with a big pot full of jambalaya into a place where there was no water and electricity and fed the team while they were going out and doing unit assessments and that kind of stuff. So there's dozens of those kind of stories, but it's really great to be in relationship with these people who've been here since 2012 when we opened the door.
That is such an enriching part of our lives. Those stories are the best stories to me because they're friendships. They're true, deeply forged friendships through mutual respect and trust. And that is lovely.
And remember, 3% of people are just not nice. So there's that part too. Well, I mean, I don't know if the 3 number is right, but there's a certain small percentage of people who just are not nice. And so somewhere in the grand scheme of working with the Steves and the Dwaynes, you have to carve out a spot where you back your team up, you stand with them, and you ask people to be nice or go away. And so there is some discretion that we get. We're dealing with the world. They're coming to us 12 a day or 10 a day or 100 a day. And 3% of people are not nice. And you also have to build your environment where your team doesn't get burned out by that.
I had customers that weren't allowed to talk to anybody but me because they weren't nice. It really upset my support staff. These are people who freak out every time anything is wrong. It doesn't matter what it is. And it doesn't matter if it's costing them money or not. They're still upset about that. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's the first time I've ever been told that 3% of people are not nice. Okay, I will keep that. I have to keep that one in mind. I'm going to go through people that I think are not nice. And a lot of the people who are not nice, they're just unhappy. They just don't have happiness in their life. And those are the people that we have to protect our staff from, number one. And number two, if God opens up the opportunity for us to help them, then we help them to understand that there's a much happier way to live. Oh, wow. So tell me a little bit about the outreach that you do. Are you still involved in ministry outreach that you guys have been doing in the past?
Currently, I'm on the board of an organization called Raduga that translates into something very fun in Ukrainian and Russian. One of my best 2 friends on the globe is Oleg Vasilevsky and Lena. They're actually here right now. He has a humanitarian visa that lets him travel and do fundraising. But Oleg and Lena today live in Kiev, Ukraine, with bombs flying over. They feel safe and at risk all the time, a mad combination. They're at my house. We're going to take them out on the boat this afternoon. But before COVID and then before the war, we did camps in orphanages in eastern Ukraine and different places. But about a year before the war, we started a club system. It's a Lego based club with iPads and motors, Bluetooth motors, and coding. And so in 10 cities all over Ukraine right now, Kharkiv in the eastern part and Lviv in the western part, we are sponsoring volunteers who used to be volunteers. Now we're paying these leaders to host clubs with these kids. So there's over 1,300 children who are living in a war-torn country, and they go for an hour to 2 hours a week, and they meet with their Radabot club. The draw is the Lego programming and the coding, but it's actually based, the content and the discussions are based on traumatic ministry and therapy in a war-torn environment. So there's some videos of these 8-year-old girls talking about what it's like to spend 7 days in a house where they didn't have food because they didn't go out because of what was going on around them. And Oleg and Lena lead that ministry. So it's an extension of what we've done with camps. I've been on the board now for a second time for about 5 years, but our job is to help them with fundraising to continue. In the old days, before the war, these would have been the volunteers at the churches. And now these people are unemployed and need the support. So we've converted our model to be able to give them some kind of an employment as a group leader. And so that is phenomenal ministry during a wartime in a country that never knows if your spot is next. And Oleg and Lena have children there and have chosen to stay on the front lines. And so he and I have been brainstorming over the last few days just about how to expand that and about what it takes. But it's great to be on the front lines of that today with them and to be their advocates and to support them. And very thankful that they're able to be here this afternoon and go not worry about a bomb and go on a boat ride to Sunset Grove.
Randy, if people want to reach out to you, number one, about mentoring them in growth or in giving to this program in Ukraine, how can they reach you?
My email is randy@liquidlife.com. So I'm happy to be emailed. Probably the best way to get me. I'm so unpopular that I have very little going on LinkedIn. So if somebody sends me a LinkedIn message, makes me feel like I'm special. So randy@liquidlife.com, be happy to talk to people or message me on LinkedIn and I'll be glad to respond. But happy to talk to people about what is going on there and what I'm seeing lived out in some people who really are just deeply rooted Christ followers, obeying a call when they could live in another country if they wanted to. They're well traveled enough to leave, but they're choosing to stay.
One of my best friends, Ira, is from Kiev.
And her family is there or no?
Yes. I have close ties in those areas too. And my husband, Nehemiah, and I were in Israel on October the 7th. We understand war torn. All of his family is there. So we get that. So guys, if you feel you want to do something like that, or if you want to help people in those areas, please reach out to Randy. You can reach out to myself too. Happy to help you do that. Randy, thank you for sharing very specific things that people can do to help grow their vacation rentals. I appreciate that. Thanks for being a mentor for people.
Well, good. Let me add one thought. Don't sell. If there's a way for you not to sell your business, and then there's a way for you to stay in it, then find that way. Many, many people that I've talked to in this industry and others who take the check with very little understanding of what they will do next are sad that they took the check. And so I would just simply say that I'm choosing to stay in it and not going away, and happy to have a couple of my children very close who happen to wake up with some analytical gifts themselves. But I just encourage people to think twice before they become the next person on LinkedIn who puts in their bio how many exits they have. Life after an exit can be great if you know what you're going to do, but the business is not to be run from. It's to be embraced, and it's people. And, every day we're welcoming people to the beach to have a family vacation. And if you can get involved a little bit in that part of the enthusiasm for it, the rewards are there, along with the fact that, we say we're cleaning up dirty stuff and fixing broken stuff every day. And so we actually have t-shirts that say, hey, we're the clean and dirty crew. But we embrace that reality that when people come and have a great time, somebody needs to clean up from them behind them, and somebody needs to fix a few things so that we can reset, so that next week we can clean up dirty stuff and broken stuff while people have a great time. It's a great business, good model. It provides still enough of an opportunity for us to do it at multiple levels, whether you're one person doing 20 or whether you're ready to see what the market has to offer and grow a little bit.
Okay, guys. So I'm going to reach out a little differently. If you're discouraged and you're thinking about selling because you're tired and you just don't know where to go next, give Randy a call. I bet he would not only mentor you, but I'll bet he would pray for you too.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate you being there with us.
Thank you very much for the time. Appreciate it.
This episode of How We Grow is brought to you by Streamline. To find out more about how Streamline can help grow your vacation rental business, visit streamlinevrs.com. Make sure to search for How We Grow in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.